everybody. I'm excited to see you in Chicago, and I want to talk today about the new Argen GT. Give you a little sneak peek of the product that's coming out right now, currently in beta. Argen GT marries the best of both worlds with a 4Y and a 5 solution, giving you a 50% translucency in the areas where you need it. So you get the strength where you need it and the aesthetics where you need it. With the Argen GT, we have a patented smart gradient technology which gives you micro mamelon effects in each layer, which reflects light more like natural teeth. Lab owners, have you wanted to compete with a scanner program but the upfront costs and risks kept stopping you? Here's the move. Give your clients a top-of-the-line Ori 3.0 intraoral scanning system without buying any inventory. Ori offers lab owners $0 down monthly pricing and a fully turnkey scanner program. Ori ships the systems direct, trains the team, and handles support. They'll even help you promote your program so you can attract new customers and generate
revenue. Book your demo today.
Hey guys, this is Marithe from Innovative Dental in Springfield, Missouri, representing Argen, talking about future-proofing your skills without sacrificing craftsmanship. I want you guys to go ahead and tune in person or via our live streams, and I'm gonna share with you guys some tips and tricks how I was able to create 135 arches to 755. So really good information. You guys should definitely tune in.
So does that mean we do or do not have live stream? We are live streaming. Wonderful. Great. So thank you all for coming out to Chicago. It's my pleasure to introduce my friend Marithe. The first time we met, we were just reminiscing on it. It was 4 years ago. She was at Lab Day East, and unlike all of you guys, she's this student that just drinks it up, and she's sitting right there just being fangirl for Jack Morano. But it's part of what I love about her is her passion for what we do, and that passion shows in the work that she's able to create. And it's been a pleasure watching her grow in this industry, and it's a pleasure to be able to introduce her and to bring her on stage for Argen. This is your maiden voyage with us, right?
Yeah.
So first time. If you are online, watching live stream, first off, any of you that have friends that couldn't come to Chicago, shoot them a text, tell them to go to the YouTube channel, and they can find us there. If you're online, you have to pre-register or you won't get your CE credits, okay? So, but you didn't come here to listen to me blabber on, you came here to listen to Marithe. So please help me to welcome her for her first Argen presentation. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, thank you for coming out to my lecture. I got really nervous about how many people were actually gonna come because I got told like 60 people registered and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna start freaking out. But I'm glad I have this amount, and I think it makes it more special when it's a small group like this. So thanks for coming out. And for the people tuning in on live stream, thank you so much. It's an honor to be a part of the Argen family now, speaking for them, and an even more huge honor to be speaking as I think the three, well, there's 3 female speakers this year, and I'm one of them. So that makes me feel good as well. So awesome. All right, so let's get into it. So you guys came to listen to me talk about technology integration without losing craftsmanship. We want to future-proof your skills as a technician. So from this perspective, I'm going to let you guys know I work in an in-house facility. I am the only lab technician. So this will be geared more towards that niche, but what I explained to you can be utilized in any of the workflows that you do, either in an in-house lab or out. So. All right, so this is something that is really near and dear to me because I know I work in a facility where I can ask for a machine and I'm very privileged. I can get what I want as long as I can prove what it can output. So we can embrace all the innovation, but not to replace the hand of the technician. We're only here to elevate it. So you guys as artists that still do the hands-on work, we still need that. But technology is a great tool when we have it and we use it well. So we never want to replace our hands, but the technology helps for sure. So let's kind of go through the content that I'll be speaking about today. Basically, I will start with my history, how I got to this point in my life, the vision that I share with my team out in Missouri, the journey it took me, the workflow strategies for design, pro tips from the bench on cam, real world takeaways for milling, quick wins in the ceramic world, and then some of the final smile transformations that I've done in-house. And then obviously I'm gonna break it down into very small steps on your key takeaways that you wanna leave with this lecture, so. All right, so my backstory. 2009, I attended dental lab school. I did it for 2 years, and then I had an externship while I was in school. So I worked at a family-owned, high-production dental lab. I learned a lot. I mean, I started from analog, pouring up models, disinfection, case entry, you name it, I did it. I broke down hydrocolloid in the denture department. It was the worst. I can't tell you how thankful I am to be a digital technician now after that experience. Then about 8 years later, after working in-house in that lab, I was offered a position as a technician to come in and teach pre-doctoral students how to do digital. So basically at VCU School of Dentistry, they launched the first digital dentistry department, and I was lucky enough to be the technician that they picked to hire for that role. So then, after I gained that experience, they had all the specialties, right? So I got introduced to so many digital technologies while I was there. I was offered a position to become a lab manager with an in-house lab for a full mouth rehabilitation practice in Virginia Beach. So after I got that offer, I was like, you know what, this is gonna be a great opportunity. I can still teach because he's opening up the Atlantic Implant Institute, and I can utilize my skills again. After that, actually a year later, I got an offer again to move to Missouri. And I don't know if any of you guys have been to Missouri before. At least the part that I'm in, it's a bunch of farms and cows. It's amazing. Actually, my sales rep, Paul, he lives about 2 exits down from where I am, and it is a very slow pace of life, but it was definitely a good transition. So basically, I was asked to come move there to open up an in-house lab for this doctor. And I could pick all the machines, I could pick all the workflows, I could pick all the materials. That's a technician's dream, right? You go there, you can have whatever you want. So of course I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna leave my family and my friends behind. Me and my daughter are gonna move to Missouri. So we ended up moving there, and I think a big thing of my decision making to move there was culture, right? Work culture, making sure it was gonna be a healthy environment for me, especially making that move. So they had this passion statement, and what it says is our passion is to create brighter smiles through innovation. So I was like, man, I'm on board with that. Let's do that. So here's Rheostat Dental Lab. I moved there in February of 2023. So actually today marks the 3-year anniversary of me moving out to Missouri. This is the lab when I first started out, when the build out was finalized after 7 months of construction. And then today you can see, if you watched that first video, I had 8 arches. Today, when I left the lab, I had over 100 arches to fabricate. So I get to deal with that when I come back, but it'll be great. And then this is Innovative Dental of Springfield. This is the practice that I came to move for and open the lab for. So it's a 25,000 square foot facility. We see 160 patients a day. We're growing constantly. So our goal in the future now is for my doctor to open up outside lab, because I've outgrown my lab already, and we're hoping to do that within 2 years. I want to spotlight my new apprentice, Kirsten, because I have worked by myself for 3 years, developing workflows, picking the best machines and best materials to provide for our patients. But she has been amazing. She has been an expanded functions dental assistant for about 6 years, and I was so graciously privileged to have her work with me, and she helps me every day to make sure I have everything I need. But I wanted to talk about her because she's actually handling all this stuff while I'm away. Our vision, obviously, is to create aesthetic, functionally beautiful dental implants, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So where does variability most often affect your workflow? So I'm sure you guys have dealt with this before. It could be any of these choices. You could have issues with your data capturing, your design, any of the sintering issues, materials, occlusal adjustment. I know some of you guys have probably experienced, you went to go seat an arch and then something was off. You had to adjust it a lot. You had to take it out of the mouth. You had to adjust again, and you had to go back. So I've been there. I have messed up royally on certain cases. And today, I'm going to share with you the transparency of I screwed up a lot before I got to this point. And I want to give you guys those tips to prevent that stuff from happening to you. So hopefully you guys will take away something here that I'm going to show you today. Okay, so my full arch journey. 2018 is when I started, about 8 years ago. I did 2 full arch cases. 2022, I did over 100 with the practice I moved to Virginia Beach for. Here at Innovative Dental, when I moved out to Missouri, the first year we opened the lab, we opened in July. We ended the year in December. I created 135 full arch cases. From there in 2024, the following year, we did 325. And then last year, we did 755. We tripled. So obviously, my doctor's super happy. You know, you want to produce, you want to do it well, and you want to give a quality product to the patient. So word of mouth is like the best advertisement, right? The more you have quality stuff, the more people will talk about you. All right, so typical all-on-X workflow. Everybody knows data acquisition. So you do your recording, your intraoral scanning, the design work for ExoCAD or 3Shape, whichever one you use. Then you do your cam and your milling. Then you select your material, because we all know we have to fit it in that puck. I know you guys that do nesting, you're like, oh God, can I fit it in the 20 or do I have to move up, you know? So that's always a fun part. And then there's the sintering. So I know some people deal with the problems of sintering problems, like one side is shrunk more than the other, issues like that. We'll touch on that as well. And then I've been fortunate actually enough in the last 5 months to perfect my Mio application. And it's all thanks to Kite Saito. He's in the audience now. I want to give him props. So if you guys can take a Mio course, I would highly suggest that. But I'll show you some of the work that I've done, and I'll kind of simplify what he's taught me. But obviously, if you want a more thorough course and actually get to that level, I would recommend taking one of Kite's courses. All right, so the best way to really understand your production, right, is to know yourself as a technician and your working time. So I know this sounds weird, but I love my machines. I take care of them like they're my babies. I know how long it takes to do things. I know when they throw a fit, and I know how to take care of those fits. And when I don't, I call tech support. So I have really good relationships with my tech support people. So you guys send them presents and Starbucks if you can. So my file alignment in ExoCAD takes about 30 minutes for 2 arches. I'm going to go over what file alignment is if some of you guys are not familiar, but if you are, then this will kind of be a review for you. My design, it takes me about 45 minutes to an hour and a half for 1 to 2 arches. Cam and milling takes about 15 minutes for me to nest and mill box, and about 2.5 to 3 hours to mill out of my IMIS I-core. Material selection and sintering, obviously it doesn't take me 16 hours to select what material I want. I already know what I want. It's the sintering that takes forever. So funny story, I used a zirconia before I used Argen, and it was a speed sinter. We all get a little tempted by the dark side sometimes to see how much you can push the limitations of what you can use and how you can cut your time. Well, speed sinter zirconia was great for a little while, but I really believe Marlon will back me up on this, that works for Argen. 16 hours is like non-negotiable. I know there's some other sintering ovens that will do 12 to 14. It just depends on your which oven you're using and the manufacturer specifications. But I do 16 hours and it's been amazing. I have no shrinkage. So I would highly suggest using a normal sintering time for your zirconia for full arch. And then for my Mio finishing, it takes about 3 to 4 hours, but that is including 3 bakes that I do it in. So this is always a good framework to start, is to write down your times and what you know, and work from there. Now, if you come into any issues, obviously, go ahead and tackle that, figure out how you can make your timeline a little bit better and more efficient. But this is what I did when I was trying to establish my workflows. Where can I cut time to make production better? Where can I make my skills better? Because when I was a traditional ceramics layering porcelain instead of Mio, it would take me 8 to 12 hours. So I cut off a lot of time on the back end by using Mio. All right, so starting from the very beginning of the workflow that we use at Innovative Dental, we use Chrome Guided Smile. So this is a fully guided system. My doctor, he sits with his implant planner for about 2-3 hours planning each patient's case. Stackable guides, I know it was a very hot topic last year at Lab Day. I think it continues to be it. The practice I worked for before Innovative Dental, we did free-handed surgery. If anybody is a technician that's done free-handed surgery, same day, immediate load, holy crap, God bless you. I used to do that, and there would be some nights where I didn't leave the practice until about 9 p.m. Chrome Guided Smile changed my entire perception of how surgery should be. So basically, my doctor now can do 4 full arch surgeries in 6 hours. So he starts at 8 a.m. and he finishes at 2. We start records this day, so I have a full clinical team of intelligent women that know exactly what I'm looking for and what I need when I get my intraoral scans. We definitely want to focus on landmarks. I tell them we always want full palate. We want posterior stops. We want things that we can connect the dots to all the scans that they do. So that's essential. The one downside that we have, I shouldn't say it's a downside, we still use Cerix, so I know some of you guys as technicians in the room, you know that sometimes the posterior doesn't line up quite right, but obviously there's workarounds, and I'll show you that in my alignment. So we also do about 6 months of healing for each patient, so we know that tissue has fully healed and everything looks great. So here is an example of what Chrome Guided Surgery looks like. We get a pin guide, we get osteotomy, we get a provisional, and we get a rapid to basically mold everything together to make sure that we have the correct bite right off the jump. So you're not guessing. When I did free-handed surgery, oh my gosh, I would end up with cants. I would end up with crazy videos, oh my gosh, the maxilla would be like one millimeter thick, or it was just a disaster. So Chrome Guided has really changed my life as a technician. All right, so let's go over workflow strategies for design. So proper alignment. This has been a huge topic, I think, as of lately. I've seen a couple other technicians kind of post shorts on Instagram about how alignment is everything. This is basically defining how you want your arch to sit, your bite to sit on an axis. So you have your X, your Y, and your Z. So if I'm scanning with Cerix, somebody who scans upper and lower could scan it different from the next person and the next person. So we have to make sure when we bring those scans in, everything superimposes correctly. So we want to be able to merge the files and use those landmarks like I told you from intraoral scanning and lock them all in. And I'll show you a video of that here shortly. Digital articulation. This is a huge one. I know a lot of people started talking about this now too. So when I first started doing this, I did not know that we had to digitally articulate. So there were some bites that I had off, right? And I had to self-teach myself this because I was like, wait, that would be an extra step. And I can't do it when I'm already set up my job and in ExoCAD. I need to figure out how to do this, right? So this is seriously the most important step of the entire design process because this will differentiate you between a case that will lock into occlusion and be perfect and a case that will be completely off and you have to redesign and remake all over again. So I'll show you that as well. And then design for hygiene and comfortability. So it's a shame I kind of was taught this too. Before I didn't really do this either. And I was guilty of it. Some of my earlier Instagram posts kind of showed I had like a lip on the gingiva. Oh my gosh. You're making your patient eat lunch twice by keeping these on there, okay? You want smooth and hygienic. You want it comfortable. So if you know, you know. I know some of you guys see some of the designs out there. We want to make it smooth so they can clean it really well because we don't want them to lose implants. We want everything to be perfect. So I'll show you guys how that design should be done properly and the parameters that I use on ExoCAD, so that'll help you kind of justify like where you should be at for numbers. All right, so let's go over alignment. So I have a horror story to tell you guys. When I worked at that office in Virginia Beach, I had a technician that I worked alongside with. She used to align the bite from the very first bite that we got. So we kept constantly having remakes. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I swear I changed the design. Everything was great. We got everything dialed in. And then I went back and I quality controlled how everything was getting done. And the bites were being basically merged together from the very first bite from the day of surgery, which is completely wrong. You always want to take a current bite. If you work in-house, you just ask your dental assistant, please get a current bite of the patient. That way you have everything exactly where it needs to be. What was I going to say? Okay, so how I do the order of proper alignment. I always do the bite scan first, then I'll merge my tissue scan, then I have an implant positioning model from Chrome Guided Surgery that we pick up on surgery day, and then the wax up that we used for that patient. So this is kind of an expedited video kind of showing you guys how I set it up. So I do two separate files. I do an alignment file, and I'll bring in my bite first. So here you'll see I'll bring in what the patient has after 6 months of healing, and then I'll align all the files together. So I do this in expert mode, just so you guys know, if you're familiar with ExoCAD. I will take everything in order. I start with the tissue scan, then I'll align that to the bite. So by landmarks, what I was saying is, okay, this dental assistant captured great landmarks, right? You can see exactly where I can see where it's similar, and I can merge the models together. When you get that rainbow effect on ExoCAD, you have a good lock-in, a good merged, aligned file. So then from here, I'll move to the lower, and you'll see all this get done as well. I look for the landmarks again, ensure that I have the spots that I need to make it fit correctly. And then as long as I get that rainbow effect, I'm good to go to the next file. Now the implant positioning model, I still use M.ED, and I screw scan markers on a model. This has not let me down yet. I have used photogrammetry, I've used facial scanning, I've used all of it. This is still a good process to use. So if you guys still screw down scan markers, scan it in a tabletop scanner, you're still in good shape. It's still getting done. Now this one didn't align so well. So why that is the posterior, when you do CEREC scans, they're a little bit off sometimes. I don't know why that is, but we've distinguished that after doing a lot of cases, and I've merged a lot of files. So if you ever have something that's kind of off in the posterior when you scan with CEREC for intraoral scanning and merge your files, just try to align it as best as you can and position it to where it'll match that tissue scan. I'll do the lower as well, and then after this, you'll see I'm gonna merge the wax ups, so the digital design. Now the digital designs I get from Chrome Guided Smile, if the patient approves the smile, I'm going to go ahead and use that design and merge that in. And I'll show you that here in a second too. So this is what the patient has in the mouth now. I'm going to take the digital wax up from Chrome Guided Smile that I've been provided, and I'm going to merge the two and kind of interlock points. And I use a 3-point system, so you guys can use that. That's the easiest way to do it really in ExoCAD. Does anybody else do this already? Yeah, okay. This is going to be a game changer, because then you don't have to do it all in one file. So after I've merged all the files, I check to make sure they're all superimposed correctly. Everything looks good. I'm going to go ahead and save this file. I usually do 2 separate ones. I'll do an alignment file so that I have all the files in order. And you'll see this in the next step. I'll bring it back up. I'm saving them all right now. And you guys can save them however you want to whatever file name. And I'll bring it back in, and it all just locks in. Because I know some of you have probably opened up ExoCAD, and you have your bite scan here, your wax up here, your tissue here, your scan markers up here, and you're like, oh my God, what do I do? So after that gets all locked in, I'm going to go back in and make sure that I saved it in the proper access. And then we're good to go. If any of you guys want this video too, I have my contact information, and it won't be sped up like this. I'll send it to you so you know what to do, because it's super helpful. So here I'm doing my design setup. So this is going to be a new file. And then I'm going to upload all those scans that I just saved from the alignment. And you'll see everything just clicks in. It's like a beautiful dance. And then you'll see, I'll turn it around. My laptop was kind of funky. Running slow that night. And then you guys see everything's locked in. When you open up your file, you're ready to design. You're going to be more efficient. You're going to do your design in 45 minutes to an hour and a half. So yeah, that's how that goes. And then, okay, so digital articulation. This is a huge one. And I talk to so many people. I'm like, do you digitally articulate your cases? And they're like, no. I'm like, how do you even get the bite right? So here I'll show you. Okay, so when you go into expert mode on ExoCAD, you have Articulator as a setting in there. You want to click on that. There it's going to give you basically a menu to show you if you want to do an automatic 3-point alignment. That's the one that you want to do. And if you guys want to know more in depth or have it written for you and you need that, I'll provide that for you too. You just contact me. So here I'm just going to go through another sped up video. This is one of the cases that I finished recently. Here I'm in that feature that I told you from the expert mode. I'm in Articulator. Right now I'm going to align my files. You can see it's off kilter because it's below the pin. And we want to get that right where it needs to be. So this 3-point alignment system, you want to hit on the incisal edge of the anterior teeth, and then you want to do the first cusp on the first molars on the buccal. And that's going to give you the most accurate bite and occlusion that you can get. So now you can see everything lines up pretty well. And then you want to hit articulation so you can kind of see the excursions of what you already have going for you. Here you're going to have to click that show distances button, and I'll show you where the occlusion hits. Blue, like that shade, is a good color. Now if you have red, pink, yellow, orange, not good. You got to adjust the occlusion quite a bit. And it will give you selections on that top menu in the rainbow area where you can hit dynamic. You can see dynamic excursions. You can see protrusive. You can see everything. So you want to make sure everything looks good and it's all blue. That is the ideal spacing you want. And obviously basic functions of occlusion, you want to hit in the right spots on the right teeth. All right, so hygienic design and comfortability. We want to design for hygiene, so like I said, don't make them eat their lunch twice. And we want smooth to the touch on the tissue, no troughs. So troughs meaning it's concave. If that's what your arches do, shame on you. You're hurting your patient. We shouldn't do that. So here with this case, I'll show you again. This one, kind of is an exception. It's where it needs to be. For him, he was on a titanium bar. So this case was split filed with Blender after I created it. And I leave, okay, so the parameter for tissue that you want to set at to make it hygienic and blanch the tissue just enough to make it good, I go at negative 0.3 in ExoCAD. So if you're in adapt and you're adapting your occlusion, your tissue, I wouldn't so much do anything with the dynamic occlusion because sometimes if it's not correct, it will blow all your teeth out. You'll have no teeth. So don't do dynamic, but you want to do your basal, like the intaglia tissue, the static occlusion, and your interproximals. This will give you an ideal spot, so where you're at for the tissue. And then you just want to smooth things around where it's coming across to the tissue. All right, so now we're going to move to milling. So there's a ton of CAM softwares out there. I've used Zirconzon, I've used Cam4 with Ivoclar. Now I am a diehard, ultimate, loyal customer of Sim Systems. Sim Systems runs Millbox. I know a lot of people are familiar with Hyperdent. I am a Millbox user, so it's funny, a lot of people think I'm Hyperdent, but I'm like, no. I'm going to tell you 2 features that Millbox has that makes it better than the competitor. It has helped me a lot through my CAM journey. In the beginning, it was a little rough learning a new one, right? Always learning a new technology, it takes time. You work all the kinks out. Well, Sim has 2 things that they taught me over time that have helped me a lot. So these are the exclusive features. Yago, if you guys are familiar with him, he's their lead director of development. Basically, he came up with something called the replace feature and the 3+2 undercut painting. These are 2 things that the competitors don't have. This is the advantage of using Millbox. Oh, and their technical support is the best. So they will help you right away. They're amazing. If they don't have a solution right away, they will get to you in a timely manner, like within the day. Because when you're the only technician, you're like, I need help right now, like help me. So they know me very well. All right, so let's go over the replace feature. So it allows simplistic interchangeability. What I mean by that is, okay, you did a design in ExoCAD and you initially designed it for vortex screws, right? And you're like, crap, okay, I'm designing, I got it all done. I have my implant library in there, I have my construction info file. Okay, so where do I go from here? Oh, the doctor calls you. Hey, actually, can you change that to Rosen screws? And you're like, oh my God, I have to redesign the whole thing. That sucks, right? Oh man, with replace, you don't have to do that. You pull it into Sim Systems, it'll replace a part without reprogramming or redesigning the part. And it preserves the toolpath strategies that you have in CAM and the setup that you just made. So you don't have to go back in ExoCAD at all. You change it in the CAM software. Ideal for remakes, so say, okay, you use Rosen screws, but you need to change the angulation of a access hole that's going out of the facial. You can change that. You can change it to vortex in here easily. You could do material swaps easily, and no re-import, no CAM rebuild. So it's perfect. This is like one of the things that I use the most of. I use it every nesting job. And I do it regardless of if I selected the right screw or implant system. I always use it. So this is a video of how to use it. It's a special feature within tools. And then there's something called connection. You're going to hit that. They have an entire library of every screw. And they keep developing, adding them because we get more screws every day, right? Like we have the Badger screw. We have all these other Powerball. You know, we have all these different screws, and they have made strategies according to each of these, which is amazing. I don't know how they keep up with it, but they do. So right here, you'll see it'll change from a light blue to a yellow. That's how you know that the replace feature has completed its, I guess, its calculation. And then you can kind of see how I nest my jobs too. I like to test the limitations input for, I know I have some friends that do too. I'm not brave enough to do that quite yet. But another great strategy, okay, so this is a precursor for your sintering. I got taught this when I was nesting with Zirconzon. Your sprues that you have in the back of your stabilizer bar right here, the blue ones, you want to make sure you have those lined up with your screw access holes. It's a game changer. I'm telling you, it works. it will disperse the heat correctly through your arch in that sintering cycle. You won't have to deal with shrinkage in those areas because you do have an open hole in that area. If it's not supported by a sintering support bar, you could suffer some consequences from that after sintering. So you want to make sure you do that if you don't already. All right, keep moving on. Okay, 3+2 undercut painting. Okay, so this is a feature that a lot of people don't know about Millbox. So I don't know how many people suffer from undercuts, but I think they're exclusive to this. Basically what this does, the undercuts that we create in our arches are intentional, right? They're either interproximal areas where we're trying to create gingiva, emergence profiles, things like that on our arches. But you're in control of this. So you don't lead it to automatic detection, right? You can do it yourself. So it saves you from thin margins, your blown away surfaces, and unnecessary hand finishing. Why I say that is because we love our milling machines. They do a really good job because we tell them what to do. But at the same time, when they come out, sometimes they don't hit certain areas in the interproximals. They don't hit certain things on the teeth. And there's a lot of hand finishing that needs to be done with some of these mills sometimes, and including mine. I have to do it still. But I'm going to show you the quick video of how this is done. So basically, there's a milling zone destination. You're going to hit fill selection. You go to the path of insertion in Millbox where you want the burr to go. If you click that area, it's going to highlight it and cut it for you. And this works because I don't really have to hand finish that much. I literally just have to create pretty teeth, like a little bit more definition when I'm done with it, when it comes out of the mill. So you'll see here, I do it for every little undercut area that needs the extra cutting. But this is something exclusive to Millbox. No other CAM software has this as of now. But it's an amazing feature. I use it, and it does cut down on hand finishing. So I would highly recommend if you're in the market for a new CAM software to try Millbox out. These features really expedite my process of nesting. It's very quick. Like I told you, it takes me 15 minutes or less to nest all my arches. All right, so my mill, I use a 350i. I'm a Zycor ProLoader Plus. I know everybody has, their own preferences on what kind of mills. So when I chose this one, I did it because I could load 9 arches basically to mill. And not only that, I knew it was made for full arch and it would not fail me. I talked to a lot of my friends in Germany and Austria that were already using mills for their full arch workflows, and they recommended Zycor. It has high precision and speed. It's 20% faster than most mills, and I know they just actually launched the release of another new mill that's supposed to be even faster for titanium. So I'm really excited to see the launch of that machine. But for now, my Zycor 350i is 100% tried and true. It will be foolproof and error-proof as long as you care for it like a baby. You have to make sure that you clean and calibrate your machine as much as you can. And I'll kind of give you guys some parameters that I've learned over time what execute the best mill jobs for cleaning and calibration. But lights out milling, obviously because I have the loader, I can mill overnight. I have that capability. My loader did break at one point, and oh my God, it sucked. I really have pity on people that have the mills that are just milling one arch, because you have to run over there, switch the arch out, run back when it's done, and you have to time things on your watch. I had to do that for a little while till I got my loader replaced. But hey, I'm more grateful now, and I'm more mentally aware of taking care of my machine. So, all right. So if I mill my arches overnight, I can mill about 4 to 5 arches while I'm gone. So by the time I come back, I'm ready to go ahead and take care of business. So each arch, how I design them, it takes me about 2.5 to 3 hours to mill at 100% power. So it's pretty efficient. If you're doing one mill job and you're not there living there 24 hours a day, this saves you obviously a lot of time on milling. I would suggest also not to wet and dry mill. I know a lot of these mill companies will tell you, oh, you have wet and dry mill capability, but we all know it can be a little bit wearisome on your machine, because I did it for a little while and I started having zirconia kind of calcify a little bit. So you just want to clean it as much as you can if you do this option, but I would highly suggest having 2 different mills to mill your metals and mill your zirc. Oh, these are some videos of my mill doing all the hard work that I make it do. I mill about 15 arches a week, so it's pretty busy all the time, so I gotta keep it clean. All right, okay. So there is calibration that needs to be done to these. So I do a 312, and this 312 calibration basically is to dial in all the axes. So the 3 is for the XYZ axis, 1 is for the spindle calibration, and 2 is for the A and B axis. So if you have a 5-axis mill, this is how it calibrates. I would run your calibration if you're a full arch after every 6 arches. I have really tested this. I have waited after 15 arches. Don't do it. Don't do it. Changing the burrs when it tells you. I know, when you're in an outside lab, you're like, man, I don't want to spend $60 to $100 by changing a burr if the mill says it's done. When it says it's done, it's done. Let it die. Put a new one in, because you're going to save yourself so many tears if you mill the next job in your zirconia chips because your burr is dull. So definitely when it tells you to change the burr, do what your machine tells you. It's telling you, help me. So help it. Okay, so cleaning your collet, vacuuming it out is like basic 101. Just make sure getting all the residuals out of there. So I learned something about my titanium mill too. I had some errors that would happen, and it would get pissed at me, and it would stop working, and it would tell me coolant processing error. I'm like, what the heck? It happened like 3 different times. I'm like, oh my God, this is making me mad. So I know we had a water pump issue with milling titanium. You have to make sure you're very diligently clean when you're cleaning this mill. And I learned this. Get a teapot, boil some water, and before you mill your titanium and you fill your water trough, put some hot water in there. It doesn't need to be boiling, but hot enough to shoot through there so it will not clog with titanium or chrome cobalt particles in the membranes of where it filters things out. Don't do it all the time. Like, do it every once in a while, because I don't want you guys emailing me, oh my God, my mill's down. Something melted. Don't do that. But, just be conscientious of what you're doing, and definitely add hot water to make sure you're pushing all that sediment out, because it does filter through a pump, and you want to make sure it stays clean. And there is a special coolant for titanium. So I just got kind of briefed on this like maybe 3 months ago. There's a white bottle that when you buy an IMSI core that's given to you, and it says milling grind coolant. I'm like, okay, cool. This can mill lithium disilicate, it can mill metal, it can mill the titanium chrome cobalt. Well, they took that off the market. They discontinued it. So this, I'm going to get out of that, sorry. This coolant is the one you want to buy. It's called a universal cooling liquid. It's in a gigantic blue gallon container. This is the one you want to use for titanium. It's thicker. It's made specifically for metals. And this is one they used to supply you with. It's a white bottle. It got discontinued. It's even on IMSI Core's website. So don't use this for milling metal, because it's not made for it. There are some businesses that are still selling this coolant. So if you have friends that are using this to mill titanium or chrome cobalt and have IMSI Core, tell them stop doing that, because it's very thin, and it's actually made for glass ceramics and stuff like that, not for metal. All right, so can I go into my favorite product? Okay, so I've messed with so many different zirconias in my day. I love Argen Z, the HT Plus. It's a 4Y zirconia, and it has 1250 megapascals. Like, you can't beat that, right? You have the strength. You can have a major Bruxer grinder. Sucker will never break through that thing. It has enhanced translucency for natural aesthetics and excellent aging resistance. I've had a couple patients that still have theirs after like 3 years, and they love their arches. They have no problem with aesthetics. It's very natural looking. And the sinter behavior, this is a big part, right? You set it in your sinter oven, you come back in the morning, it is always consistently shrunk the way it should. So if you ever have a question or concern about that, this is the zirconia that you need to go to, because it's so reliable. It's amazing. And you can see how much I buy of it. You're welcome, Paul. All right, so why in-house? Predictability, right? We want to know what we're doing is going to actually do what we tell it to do. So consistent shrinkage, you just have to put that stabilizer bar that I showed you guys in the cam. Make sure that that's there. You want to make sure it's strong enough for full arches, so proper design methods, correct parameters when you're doing your design, everything's right. It's minimal chipping risk, so as long as you do the cam, kind of how I taught you, it will not chip, and reliable centering. And you can see some of the arches that I've milled out. And this is what it looks like post-centering. Green state. So if you want your green state to look this pretty, take Kite's course for green state, because he taught me how to do it. But I use Argen's intrinsic modifiers, the liquids. So I'll do a little bit of hand modification on the green state. I use Argen's colorant system. And when I add these colors, you guys don't want to stick it directly into the center oven. You want to give it some dry time so it can absorb correctly. So when you put this colorant, you want to make sure that you put it under a heat lamp for probably about an hour, or you could put it in some sort of heating element like a air fryer or a little toaster oven for at least 20 minutes so it locks in. Then you wait for it to cool, and then you can stick it in your centering oven. So this is kind of how I do my setup. You can see there. That one doesn't have a stabilizer bar, but that was just for a tutorial. Always have a stabilizer bar. And if your green state looks good, the final will too. So this is an arch that I did, the same one that's actually here on the left with Mio. So you can kind of see what it looks like from green state to the shrinkage to adding all the finishing touches. All right, so on to Mio. Very technique sensitive, so I'll be transparent here. I sucked at it. I tried in 2011 when they released it. I tried again in 2017. I still sucked. But I took Kite's course and it clicked on like a light bulb. I think if we learn from other experts in what they specialize in, you go bounds and leaps and bounds better from where you were. So it clicked when I took his course. I use a 3-bake system. He basically taught this 3-bake system, and the completion time can be done in 3 to 4 hours with proper firing parameters. So you want to make sure that your oven is set. Everybody's oven's a little bit different. You got to tinker a little bit with temperatures and time, but once you lock it in, you're good. So here's the 3-bake system. Very quickly, we just color the teeth first, color the tissue second, and then layer structure last. So here I am about to layer one of my arches that I intrinsically stained post-centering, and here the essentials are basically these kits, and it doesn't want to show up all the way. You can go on Jensen's website, it'll have this for you laid out. Oh, there it goes all of a sudden. All right, so I'm coloring the teeth first. You can see this. I'm firing it in my Zubler oven. Then I color the tissue second. Now, you want to use colors that you feel match the patient's gingiva. So photos obviously are a huge part of this part of the process, so you can use photos. And then I layer the structure last. So I layer on structure lightly, and then I fire for that. And then you can enjoy your final result. So this patient, she wanted her teeth to look like veneers. I think I nailed it. I was so upset though because she didn't want to take final photos to like post on social media. She didn't allow us to disclose it, but at least I could show the video of what her teeth look like. She didn't want people to know she got dental implants. It's okay. So here's a couple arches that I finished within the last 3 weeks. All the results vary obviously to how you want them to be colored. And then showing you how hygienic a couple of them are. Make it smooth to the touch, polish it with Zircon Bright. And yeah. And here's my slide dedicated to Kite. He does about 4 to 6 courses a year for Mio instruction. He's based out of Fayetteville, Arkansas at Ozark Prosthodontics, and he works for Dr. Dean McNeil. Some upcoming courses he has available are right now, April 25th to 26th and June 13th to 14th. He will have more details on Jensen's website if you guys want to go ahead and try to scheduled to take a course by him. He does it with Green State, and he does Mio layering as well. So great course to take. And then these are some smile transformations. They're not my Mio ones because I just recently started doing Mio more frequently in the last month, and we haven't uploaded all the photos yet. But this is some of the traditional porcelain that I've layered for casework. And so key takeaways. Oh, my bad. Go back. Okay, so key takeaways that you guys want to take from this entire lecture. You want to evaluate your timeline, so plan for efficiency. Guided surgery, obviously a bonus if you work at an outside lab. You don't really have a say in that, but if you're an in-house technician, seriously encourage your doctors to do chrome guided surgery. The design process, you want to make sure you have your alignment set, digital articulation dialed in, and hygienic prosthetics after the design is done. And your cam, you want to use replace or 3+2 if you use Mailbox. Obviously, I'm sure you can ask your technical support or resellers for your cam softwares if they do have these available now. And then
Lab owners, have you wanted to compete with the scanner program, but the upfront costs and risks kept stopping you? Here's the move. Give your clients a top-of-the-line Ori 3.0 intraoral scanning system without buying any inventory. Ori offers lab owners $0 down monthly pricing and a fully turnkey scanner program. Ori ships the systems direct, trains the team, and handles support. They'll even help you promote your program so you can attract new customers and generate more revenue. Book your demo today.